During this second wave of coronavirus, there appears to be a number of new terms that have appeared, which is causing confusion as to what they actually mean. Here, we're briefly going to discuss what the different terms mean and hopefully provide clarity. We're going to start with the rule of 6. The rule of 6 relates to the meeting up of up to 6 individuals, either inside a building or outside. This diagram shows a family of 4. In this picture, only up to 2 people can meet the family, as this would then equal 6 people. If the family consisted of 3 people, then 3 others could visit, and if the family was just a couple, then 4 others can visit, as long as the total number of people is not more than 6 individuals. In this diagram, if there is already 6 or more people living in the house, then no other people can visit unless there is others who are part of your social bubble, something that we will describe soon. As in this diagram, there is someone who is a carer, then they can join you even if there is more than 6 people in your household. This diagram shows that there are exceptions to the rule of 6. These include the following: where there is more than 6 people living in one household, if there is gathering for work, i.e. more than 6 people in one building at work, there's gathering for education, such as schools, colleges and universities. There's organised team sports, like matches with COVID-secure guidelines in place. For weddings and funerals, there are restrictions, although more than 6 people can meet. And in restaurants, no more than a group of 6 can go in together for one table, but that group of 6 should not then swap tables or go and meet other groups in other parts of the restaurant. They should restrict themselves to their table and their group of 6. Now we're moving on to social bubble. A social bubble is a close support network between a household with only one adult in the home, known as a single adult household, and one other household of any size. This is called making a support bubble. Once in a support bubble, you should not change who is in your bubble. So here, a diagram shows a family, and either a single adult who lives by themselves can join that family to create a social bubble, or if a single adult has a child who is less than 18 years of age on the 12th of June 2020, then both the adult and the child can join the family to create a social bubble. Where we have a divorced family or separated family, the child will be seeing each individual parent, and each parent can join another family to create their own social bubble. If one of the parents meets another partner, so they are living as a couple, then they cannot join another family to create a social bubble, but a single adult can join them to create a bubble themselves. Having described the rule of 6 and a social bubble, we can now move on to what is called the COVID alert levels, tiers, or local lockdown. At the moment in England, there are 3 tiers: Tier 1, which is medium risk, Tier 2, high risk, and Tier 3, very high risk. You can check which level your area is in by logging on to www.gov.uk and put in your postcode, which will highlight the tier level that you are living in. From here, we're going to compare the 3 tiers for different situations to hopefully provide insight into what you can and can't do in each of the tiers. In this diagram, we show what you can do indoors and in public places and outdoors. In the top diagram, you can see that if you are in Tier 1, the medium risk category, you have to abide by the rule of 6, which means that you cannot have more than 6 people inside your home unless you fall within one of the exemptions that we've discussed previously. As far as Tier 2, and Tier 3 are concerned, the high risk and very high risk group, there should be no visitors into the house and only your household members or those that are part of your social bubble can visit your home. In the outdoor environment, which could be private gardens, parks and beaches, in both Tier 1 and Tier 2, you abide by the rule of 6 so that you can meet other people as long as the group does not consist of more than 6 people. In Tier 3, you cannot have any engagement within a private garden unless it's your household or bubble, but in other environments like parks, beaches, public gardens and sports venues, you have to abide by the rule of 6. So in Tier 1 and 2, both within your private garden and in public places, you have to abide by the rule of 6. But in Tier 3, you cannot have guests and visitors in your private garden, but you can meet people outside in public places as long as the group is not more than 6 individuals. Here, we describe pubs, bars and restaurants. Where pubs and bars can remain open, they can only be open between 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. and must shut at 10 p.m. In Tier 1 and Tier 2, pubs and bars can remain open as long as they abide by the rule of 6, so up to 6 people can meet. But in Tier 3, pubs and bars must shut unless they are selling what is called a substantial meal, which may be similar to a lunchtime meal or an evening meal. In these situations in Tier 3, alcohol cannot be served at the bar and can only be served as part of a meal in a seated environment. With regard to restaurants, again, they must close at 10 p.m, but for Tier 1 and 2 and 3, the restaurants can remain open as long as they abide by the rule of 6. After 10 p.m, eateries can provide food as long as the collection of food is through click and collect, delivery, or a drive-through method. So they cannot have restaurants with dining tables open after 10 o'clock. Throughout all 3 tiers, colleges, schools, universities will remain open, and places of worship will also remain open. Weddings and funerals can take place through 1, 2, and 3, but they have restrictions on the number of people that can attend a wedding and number that can attend a funeral. In Tier 3, you cannot have a wedding reception. At the moment, gyms are open in all 3 tiers. Also, beauty and hairdressers are open throughout the 3 tiers, but this may vary from area to area. Travel and overnight stays should be minimised in both Tier 1 and Tier 2, but for Tier 3, there should be avoidance of anyone from Tier 3 travelling outside their area or for anyone moving from a lower tier into a very high-risk area. There is exceptions to Tier 3 travel, and that you can travel outside this tier if it's for work, education, youth services, or because it's for caring responsibilities. With regard to care homes, check the restrictions with the individual care home on whether they are allowing visiting or not, depending on the tier that your area is in. Finally, there has been talks of circuit breakers, which the government at the moment is resisting, but should the country go down into circuit breaker or lockdown, which will be similar to the restrictions we had in Wave 1, then most of the above, including restaurants, universities, schools, gyms, beauty hair salons, will all shut down, and we will have a period where only essential workers will be out going to work.